First contact gone wrong. The warship Thunder drifted through the darkness near Jupiter's orbit. Its hull bore countless scars from previous battles, each mark a story of survival. The ship looked ugly compared to the sleek vessel's other species, built, but Captain James preferred function over beauty. "Captain, we have something strange on sensors," said Mike from the pilot's seat. His hands moved across the controls with practiced ease. 3 contacts just appeared from nowhere. James stood up from his command chair. The bridge was small and cramped with exposed pipes and flickering lights. Everything about human ships screamed primitive to outside observers. They had no idea how wrong they were. "Distance?" James asked. 50,000 kilometers in closing," Anna reported from the weapons station. Her fingers hovered over the firing controls. "They came out of hyperspace, sir. Advanced technology." "Let's not jump to conclusions. Tom, how are our systems?" The engineer looked up from his console. "Running hot as always, Captain. But she'll hold together. She always does." The view screen flickered to life. 3 ships appeared against the black void. They were beautiful in an alien way. Smooth. Curves, glowing energy fields, and no visible weapons. They looked like art pieces rather than warships. "Incoming transmission," Mike announced. The screen changed to show an alien face. The creature had gray skin, 4 eyes, and a mouth full of sharp teeth. It wore elaborate armor covered in glowing symbols. "Primitive vessel." The alien spoke in broken English, clearly translated by their computers. "I am Commander Vrek of the Vortan Empire. You will surrender your ship immediately. Your species is too young for space travel. We will take your vessel for study." James stepped forward. "Commander Vrek, I'm Captain James of the human warship Thunder. We mean no harm, but we cannot surrender our vessel. Perhaps we can discuss." The transmission cut off. A bright beam of energy shot past the Thunder, missing by only 100 meters. "Warning shot," Anna said. "Their weapons are charging again." "They think we're helpless," Mike muttered. "Look at them. They're not even in defensive positions." James studied the alien formation. The 3 ships floated in perfect triangle formation, their shields glowing softly. They moved with grace and precision, but something was missing. There was no urgency in their movements, no readiness for real combat. "Sir, they're hailing us again," Mike said. Commander Vrek appeared once more, and James could swear the alien was laughing. "Humans, you have 10 seconds to surrender. Your primitive metal ship cannot possibly stand against Vorthon technology. We have conquered a dozen species. You will be number 13. "Have you ever fought a war, Commander?" James asked calmly. The alien's 4 eyes blinked in confusion. "War? We have brought order to chaotic species. We have shown them proper civilization." "That's not war," James said. "Anna, status on weapons?" "All systems green. Railguns charged, missiles armed. Point defense online." "Primitive projectiles?" Vrek laughed. The sound was like grinding metal. "We have shields that can stop any energy weapon. Your solid slugs are useless ancient technology." James sat back in his chair. Around him, his crew prepared for what came next. No fear showed on their faces. Humans had been fighting wars since they learned to walk upright. First with rocks, then spears, then guns, then nukes. Every generation found new ways to destroy enemies. "Commander Vrek," James said, "I'm going to give you one chance. Leave now, forget you ever saw us. You dare threaten the Vorthan Empire? Your ship is falling apart. I can see rust on your hull. You have no shields, no energy weapons, no—" Mike, evasive pattern Delta. "Anna, target their lead ship's engines. Tom, give me everything we've got." "With pleasure, Captain," Tom grinned, pulling a lever that should have been replaced years ago. The Thunder groaned as its engines roared to life. The ugly, scarred warship suddenly moved like a predator that had been pretending to sleep. Vrek's 4 eyes widened in surprise. "What are you doing? Wait." James leaned forward in his chair. His next words were calm, almost friendly, but they carried the weight of 10,000 years of human warfare. "All weapons free. Show them why. You don't mess with humans." The space around Jupiter was about to become a classroom, and the lesson was simple. Humans didn't just wage war, they perfected it. The human response. The first railgun shot tore through space at 30 kilometers per second. Commander Vrek barely had time to blink his 4 eyes before the tungsten rod punched through his ship's shields like they were made of paper. Impossible! Vrek screamed as his beautiful ship shuddered. The projectile had torn a hole straight through their engine compartment. Our shields stop all weapons. Energy weapons. Anna corrected from her station, though the aliens couldn't hear her. She fired again, and again, and again. You never fought anyone who throws rocks really fast. The thunder spun on its axis, a move that should have been impossible for a ship its size. Mike's hands danced over the controls, making the bulky warship dance like a fighter jet. Years of training in Earth's video games had prepared him for this moment in ways no alien could understand. Second ship is trying to flank us, Mike reported, pulling the ship into a barrel roll that made the hull groan. Let them come, James said. Anna, show them surprise number 2. The Vorthan ships moved to surround the thunder, their plasma beams finally starting to fire. Green energy splashed against the human ship's armor, leaving scorch marks but failing to penetrate. The aliens expected the hull to melt. They didn't know humans built their ships like tanks, thick, ugly, and nearly indestructible. Suddenly, the thunder sprouted thorns. Hundreds of small turrets emerged from hidden ports across the hull. The point defense system, designed to stop missiles, found new targets in the alien fighters launching from the enemy ships. The space between the ships filled with lead. Thousands of bullets created a wall of metal that shredded anything trying to get close. The elegant alien fighters, built for beauty and speed, fell apart like paper in a blender. They have no armor. Tom laughed from his station. Their ships are all shields and no substance. The second Vorthon ship tried to retreat, its captain finally understanding the danger. But humans had learned long ago that you never let an enemy escape to fight another day. Nuclear missiles away, Anna announced. The aliens detected the IDR missiles and almost relaxed. Nuclear weapons were primitive, something their shields could easily handle. They prepared for the electromagnetic pulse and radiation. They didn't prepare for what humans had done to their nukes over the centuries. The missiles split apart at the last second, each one becoming a dozen smaller warheads. They didn't aim for the shields. They aimed for the gaps. Every ship had weak points where shields overlapped. Humans had spent centuries finding weak points in armor, walls, and defenses. Space shields were no different. The explosions weren't huge. They didn't need to be. 12 small nuclear blasts at exactly the right points caused the Vorthan shields to collapse like a house of cards. The ship beneath, built for beauty over function, crumpled like aluminum foil. 2 down, Mike reported. Flagship is charging. Something big. Commander Rek's face appeared on screen again. His gray skin had turned pale blue. Their version of fear. What are you? No species fights like this. This is madness. This is human, James corrected. We're not madmen. We're just very experienced. Tom, how's our hull? Took some burns, but nothing serious. These aliens don't know how to punch. Their weapons are all flash, no impact. The Vorthon flagship fired its main weapon, a gravity beam designed to crush ships into tiny balls of metal. It was their ultimate weapon, something that had ended a dozen conflicts. The thunder groaned under the pressure. Metal bent and twisted. Any other species' ship would have collapsed. But humans built things to last. They over-engineered everything because they knew it would break eventually. The thunder had 3 times the structural support it needed, redundant systems on top of redundant systems, and a crew that thought duct tape could fix anything. Hull stress at 60%, Tom reported, not even looking worried. Want me to reinforce? No need, James said. Mike, remember that move from the simulator? The one they said would never work in real combat? Mike grinned. My favorite. The thunder didn't try to escape the gravity beam. Instead, it flew straight into it, using the alien weapon's own force to accelerate. The human ship shot forward like a bullet from a gun, closing the distance in seconds. "What are you doing?" Rex screamed. "In human history, we call this a cavalry charge," James explained calmly. "Except instead of horses, we have 100,000 tons of angry metal." The Thunder opened fire with everything: railguns, missiles, even the old chemical cannons that Earth insisted they keep. The Vorthen flagship's shields held for exactly 3 seconds before failing. Then the human ship did something that would become legend in alien circles. It kept accelerating. "Ramming speed," James ordered. Desperate measures, Commander Rex scream cut through the bridge speakers as the Thunder filled his view screen. At the last second, Mike pulled the ship up, scraping the belly of the human warship along the Vorthen flagship's hull. The sound of tearing metal echoed through both ships. "Just a love tap," Mike said, checking his instruments. Took out their weapon arrays on the top deck. The flagship limped away, sparks flying from the gash in its perfect hull. Rex was screaming something in his native language that the translators couldn't process, probably curses. "Captain, we've got problems," Anna announced. 5 more contacts, just dropped out of hyperspace. Vorthon reinforcements. James stood up, walking to the view screen. 5 fresh alien ships hung in space, their shields glowing bright and weapons charging. These weren't explorers or police vessels. These were proper warships. "Now we're having fun," Tom said, his hands flying over his console. "Permission to remove safety limits?" "Granted," James replied. "All of them." The first safety limit controlled: engine output. Tom pushed the engines to 150%. The ship shook as thrusters designed for 80% maximum suddenly screamed past their limits. The second safety limit controlled weapon cooling. Anna disabled it, knowing the guns would overheat but not caring. Humans had learned to fight, through pain, through exhaustion, through equipment failure. The third safety limit was on the reactor. Tom cranked it so high the radiation warning started blaring. He turned off the alarms with a piece of tape over the speaker. "Incoming transmission from the lead ship," Mike reported. A new alien face appeared. This one looked older, more decorated. "Human vessel, I am Admiral Koss of the Vorthen Empire. You have damaged Empire property and killed Empire citizens. Surrender now, and your death will be quick." "Counteroffer," James said. "You leave, and we won't turn your fancy ships into, scrap metal." Admiral Koss made a sound like grinding gears. "You barely survived 3 ships, we have 6 now." "You cannot—" James cut the transmission. "Boring conversation anyway. Anna, remember what they taught us at the academy about fighting multiple opponents? Hit them hard, hit them fast, and never fight fair," Anna recited, already targeting the nearest ship. The Vorthon ship spread out in a perfect formation, textbook tactics from their military academies. They moved in synchronized patterns, their shields overlapping for maximum protection. It was beautiful, elegant, and exactly what James expected. "Mike, take us straight through the middle." "Through? Captain, that's—" Mike started, then grinned. "That's completely insane. I love it." The Thunder accelerated toward the enemy formation. Plasma beams and gravity weapons lit up space around them. The hull temperature climbed. Paint peeled off. Minor systems failed. The crew didn't care. Tom ran through the ship's corridors with a fire extinguisher in one hand and a welding torch in the other. He put out fires, welded cracks, and somehow kept the ship running with nothing but determination and a roll of duct. "Tape, why won't you die?" Admiral Koss demanded over the comm. "Because humans are too stubborn to know when we're beat," James replied. The Thunder reached the center of the enemy formation. Any reasonable species would try to escape, to minimize damage and retreat. Humans weren't reasonable. "Deploy the special packages," James ordered. Anna's smile was predatory. "Antimatter torpedoes away." The Vorthens detected the torpedoes and laughed. Their point defense would easily destroy such slow-moving projectiles. They didn't know humans had been perfecting weapon delivery for thousands of years. The torpedoes didn't fly straight. They spiraled, danced, and split into smaller pieces. Each piece split again. What started as 6 torpedoes became 200 decoys and warheads. The alien point defense systems designed for predictable threats couldn't track them all. 3 warheads got through. Antimatter was simple physics. Matter meets antimatter, Everything explodes. The Vorthans knew the science but had never weaponized it. Too dangerous, they said. Too unstable. Humans looked at dangerous and unstable and said, perfect. The explosions turned night into day. 2 Vorthan ships simply ceased to exist. A third lost half its mass in an instant, the crew barely managing to escape in pods. 3 more down, Anna reported. 3 left, including the flagship. The remaining alien ships pulled back, finally understanding. They weren't fighting a species that had just discovered space travel. They were fighting a species that had been practicing killing for millions of years. Sir, our hull integrity is at 30%, Tom reported over comm. Also, the coffee machine broke. Now I'm angry, James said. Anna, do we still have the thing we're not supposed to have? The thing that violates 12 galactic treaties we haven't signed yet? Anna asked innocently. That thing? That's the one. The truth about humans. Admiral Koss watched in horror as the human weapons officer activated something on her console. The Thunder's hull opened in a dozen places, revealing weapons that shouldn't exist. Gravity hammers, neutron beams, and something the scanners couldn't even identify. Please wait, Koss transmitted desperately. We surrender. The Vorthan Empire surrenders. James held up his hand and Anna paused. You surrender? Just like that? You are insane. Koss's voice shook. No species fights like this. You're damaging your own ship just to damage ours. Your crew is breathing radiation. Your engines are melting. This isn't warfare, it's madness. No, James said quietly. This is human. Let me explain something about our species, Admiral. The bridge of the Thunder was filled with smoke. Sparks flew from damaged consoles. Tom had run out of duct tape and was now using chewing gum to seal a leak. Mike was steering with one hand because the other control stick had melted. Anna's weapons console was on fire and she was still firing through the flames. None of them looked worried. We evolved on Earth, James began. You know what Earth is? It's what the galaxy calls a death world. Everything there tries to kill you. The weather, the animals, the plants, even the ground sometimes. Death worlds don't produce intelligent life, Koss protested. The science is clear. Your science is wrong, James interrupted. We didn't develop despite our world trying to kill us. We developed because of it. You want to know what made humans different? On the screen, Koss nodded slowly, his fleet holding position but not attacking. We had predators, James continued. Big ones with sharp teeth. So we made spears. Then the predators got smarter, so we made better spears. Then we ran out of predators to fight, so we fought each other. Tom stumbled onto the bridge, his face covered in soot. Captain, I've got the engines holding at 200%, but I wouldn't recommend it for long. How long? Maybe an hour before they explode. Perfect, that's 59 minutes longer than we need. Admiral Koss's translator struggled with the concept. You're running your engines until they explode? On purpose? We call it redlining, Mike explained, casual as could be. Push everything past the breaking point and hope it holds long enough to win. But that's not logical. Logic? Anna laughed, putting out the fire on her console with her jacket. We're humans. We looked at logic and decided it was boring. You know what humans did when we discovered atomic energy? Used it for power? Koss guessed. We made bombs, huge ones. Then we pointed them at each other and called it peace. Worked pretty well, actually. James stood up, walking closer to the view screen despite the deck plates beneath him glowing from heat. We fought with sticks and stones for thousands of years, then bronze, then iron, then steel, then gunpowder. Every generation, we found new ways to kill each other. That's horrible, Koss whispered. That's practice, James corrected. When we reached space, we thought we'd found peace. No more wars, we said. Then we met you and you threatened us, and we remembered something important. What? We're really, really good at war. It's not that we like it, though Mike does enjoy it a bit too much. Guilty as charged, Mike called out, doing another barrel roll just because he could. It's that we've been doing it longer than any other species has been alive, James continued. You know what your mistake was, Admiral? Koss was silent. You evolved in peace. Your weapons are designed to scare others into submission. They're pretty, elegant, and efficient. Our weapons are designed to do one thing: kill whatever we point them at. Doesn't matter if it's ugly. Doesn't matter if it hurts us too. If the enemy dies first, we win. The antimatter torpedoes, Koss said slowly. No sane species would put that much antimatter on their own ship. If one malfunctioned, we'd all die, Anna confirmed cheerfully. We've got 12 more, by the way. Want to see what happens when we fire them all at once? No, Koss's shout was immediate. Please, no more. We yield. We surrender completely. Here's what's going to happen, James said, his voice turning serious. You're going to take your surviving ships and leave. You're going to tell every species you meet about humans. You're going to tell them that we don't want war, but we're very good at it. And if they don't believe us? Koss asked. Tom held up a roll of duct tape he'd found somewhere. Then we'll hold our ships together with tape and spite, and teach them. The same lesson? You're all insane, Koss muttered. No, James smiled. We're human, and now you know what that means. Never again. The two remaining Vorthon ships limped toward the edge of human space, their once perfect hulls scarred and broken. Admiral Koss's flagship had lost all its decorative lights. The other ship was venting atmosphere from 3 hull breaches. They looked like they'd been through a blender. The Thunder followed behind them, somehow still moving despite looking worse than the ships it had defeated. One engine was completely dead. The other 3 were held together by what Tom called hope and prayer. Half the weapons were melted. Slag. The coffee machine was definitely broken. Admiral Koss, James spoke over the comm. Before you leave, we need to discuss terms. Terms? Koss sounded exhausted. What more could you want? You've destroyed my fleet, killed hundreds of my people. We want you alive, James said simply. Alive and talking. Every species you meet, every empire you trade with, every civilization in your databases, they all need to hear what happened here. You want us to spread fear of humans? No. We want you to spread truth. We don't want to fight. Look at our ship. Fighting hurts us too. We'd rather trade, explore, make friends. But if someone threatens us, you'll destroy them. Koss finished. We'll destroy them so thoroughly that no one will ever try again. Anna added, her weapons still trained on the alien ships despite half of them not working. They reached the border of human space, marked by ancient buoys that broadcast a simple message in hundreds of languages. Welcome to human space. Peaceful visitors welcome. Hostile visitors will be returned to sender in small pieces. Wait, Koss said suddenly. If you're so powerful, why haven't you conquered the galaxy? With your weapons, your tactics, when James laughed. Conquer? Admiral, we can barely keep our own ships running. Tom, show him what's holding our reactor together. Tom held up a piece to the camera. It was literally a metal pipe wrapped in duct tape and what looked like chewing gum. We don't want to conquer, James explained. Conquering means managing, organizing, dealing with politics. We're not good at that. We're good at one thing: surviving when someone tries to kill us, and making sure they don't try twice. This is insanity, Koss muttered. Your entire species is insane. Maybe, Mike agreed. But it works. Before the Vorthon ships could enter hyperspace, another alert sounded on the Thunder's broken sensors. 12 new contacts appeared. A full battle fleet from the Galactic Council, the peacekeeping force of the civilized galaxy. Human vessel, a calm voice spoke. This is Mediator First Class Ven of the Galactic Council. We detected weapons fire and came to investigate. Stand down immediately. The Council ships were massive, each one 10 times the size of the Thunder. Their shields shimmered with power that made the Vorthon technology look primitive. Should we tell them what happened? Mike asked. James shook his head. Let's see what our new friends say. Mediator Ven was already scanning the wreckage, the debris fields where Vorthon ships used to be. The radiation signatures of antimatter explosions. The Council had seen many battles, but nothing quite like this. Admiral Koss. Ven's voice was carefully neutral. Report. What happened here? There was a long pause. Every human on the bridge held their breath. We experienced a catastrophic, Navigation error, Koss said slowly. We accidentally entered human space and encountered local phenomena. Solar flares, asteroid impacts, equipment failures. The humans offered assistance, but we were already leaving. Solar flares? Ven sounded skeptical. That caused antimatter signatures? Very unusual solar flares, Koss insisted. Natural phenomena, nothing more. We'll be filing our charts incorrectly. This entire sector should be marked as extremely hazardous. Natural hazards. Not safe for travel. Another pause. The Council. Ship scanned the Thunder, taking in its damaged state, its primitive appearance, its crew of 4 humans who had somehow defeated an entire Vorthan fleet. Understood, Ben finally said. Human vessel, do you require assistance? We're good, James replied casually. Just escorting our friends to make sure they get home safe. Dangerous space out here. Lots of, solar flares. The Council ships hung in space for another moment. Then, without another word, they turned and entered hyperspace. But not before James caught them adjusting their star charts, marking human. Space with the universal symbol for extreme danger. Avoid at all costs. As the Vorthan ships prepared to leave, Admiral Koss sent one final message. Captain James, what you did today. No species should have such weapons, such tactics. You're right, James agreed. Good thing we're not planning to use them unless someone makes us. Spread the word, Admiral. Humans want peace. But we're really, really good at the other thing. The fourth-hand ships vanished into hyperspace, leaving the Thunder alone among the debris. Think they'll tell others? Anna asked. Oh, they'll tell everyone, James smiled. And in a week, every species in the galaxy will know to leave humans alone. Tom finally found another roll of duct tape and began fixing the coffee machine. So typical Tuesday? Pretty much, Mike agreed, turning the ship back toward Jupiter. Think we'll get a quiet patrol now? As if in answer, their damaged sensors picked up another contact. A massive dreadnought from the Zeke Empire dropped. Out of hyperspace, weapons charging. Then it scanned the debris field. The antimatter signatures. The Thunder, held together by tape and determination, still showing active weapons locks. The dreadnought sat there for exactly 5 seconds. Then, without sending a single transmission, it turned around and jumped back into hyperspace. And that, James said, sitting back in his damaged captain's chair, is how you win a war without fighting it. The Thunder limped home, ugly and broken but victorious. Within days, the story spread across the galaxy. The young species that looked primitive, the ones with the ugly ships and basic technology, the ones who fought like demons and enjoyed it. Every military database in the galaxy was updated with the same warning: humans, classification extremely dangerous. Recommendation: avoid confrontation at all costs. Note: they consider warfare a recreational activity. And in the depths of human space, the crew of the Thunder finally got their coffee machine working again. Next time, Tom said, sipping his coffee, maybe they'll just talk first. Where's the fun in that? Mike asked. They all laughed because they knew the truth. Humans didn't want to fight. But if someone made them, they'd remind the galaxy why Earth's children were the monsters that even monsters feared. And somewhere in the void, the message spread from ship to ship, empire to empire. Don't mess with the humans. Just don't. The end.